Alright, it has been too long. Let's get this video started. Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. Today's video, if you can't tell by the title and thumbnail, if you have a carbureted Sn95, you are definitely going to be wanting to watch this video. So today, I'm going to be telling you guys how to keep your gauge cluster and all the gauges working. But I'm going to actually get up to the shop and actually going to do a nitrous update too on this video, since I haven't done one in a while. But let's get up to the shop and we will continue this video. First off, before we do that, we got to take and get the trunk open here so I can cut my main switch on. Got my main switch on. I still haven't put the stuff back in the trunk yet, but still got to do that, so we'll definitely get it done though. All right. If you guys can't tell, I got my nitrous pressure gauge there and air fuel ratio gauge there. But we're gonna get to the rest of that here in a minute, so once we get up to the shop, I will continue this video. All right, pause. So for some reason, my memory card, this one little clip right here got corrupted. So what I'm gonna do is catch you guys up, that way the video kind of flows together a lot better. So what I was talking about before this next clip is pretty much the nitrous kit was pretty much all together. I had my buddy Taylor and another buddy Matt help me out, and they actually helped me out while I was working one day, so they got a lot of stuff done while I was at work. But they got the nitrous plate on, they got the solenoids and everything wired up, and then also they got my fan wired up as well. And also, as you guys can see, I got my nitrous purge run right in front of the windshield but right behind the hood, so it comes out dead center of the windshield. And also I did put Onyx on an MSD style ignition system, that way it has a rev limiter and all that stuff, because on nitrous I really want the rev limiter and all that, that way I don't over rev it, because it'll rev a lot quicker. And also RPM is really what kills these 302s, over revving them and vibration. And as you can see right there, I do have the Nitrous Express window switch. I went with that so it would power up the nitrous when I want it to at a certain RPM, at a certain throttle as well. And I got everything, and also as you can tell, I got everything plumbed for the fuel side. The only thing I had to plumb was the nitrous pressure line to the solenoid, and that was pretty much it. So, and that's pretty much all I talked about before this next clip, so enjoy the rest of the video. All right, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but it keeps saying memory card error, but we'll see what happens here. It's the only memory card I got with me, but yeah, I got that routed right there in front of the windshield, and it should come out nicely where I have it routed. And I got my fuel here teed off to go to the fuel solenoid. I do need to pick this hose up a little bit. That looks way closer to the header than it is. It's honestly like probably 6 inches away, but I do need to pick that up, get it away from that heat as much as possible. Pretty much everything is ready to go. The only thing I have to do is get my bottle filled and get my nitrous pressure line run like I said earlier, and she'll be ready to have some first nitrous hits. But let's go show you guys the back of the car. So anyways guys, we got the battery relocation kit right here. I actually got this off of Amazon, so it was it's pretty much identical to the UPR stuff. I don't know if it is the UPR stuff, but I mean literally it looks identical. But yeah, we got all that installed, got our switches installed, our battery cables are ran, and don't mind these little speaker wires hanging down, I gotta mess with those. And of course, the big nitrous bottle. Not really that big, it's just a regular old 10-pound nitrous bottle. But we got that in there, got it mounted up, ready to go. Got the nitrous pressure line run, as you can tell, just laying in the car right now. I haven't routed it yet. Just kind of making sure I had enough length for it, and I do. But with all that being said, guys, to the point of today's video, I've had a lot of you guys ask me, and I've sort of hit on this in the past, how to get the gauge cluster working on the carbureted setup. And it's really not that hard, guys. This is probably going to be a short video because it's a really easy explanation. I'll start with the temperature gauge first because that's probably one of the easiest ones to do. So what you're going to do is, if you are on a carbureted setup like I am, you're going to want to keep your factory temperature wire. And I got mine right here. I'll show it to you. See if you can shed a, well, it's decently lit down in there, but right up underneath my nitrous solenoid right here, that is the factory temp sensor and the factory temp wire. And I got it ran over here, which goes to this little block right here, this little wiring harness block. It bolts together. The other side goes to the computer, which the temperature sensor reads off of course, the water temp, sends it through, sends it to the computer, and sends it to the gauge. And the only two wires I kept off of this factory wiring harness going to the engine was I kept the temperature sensor and the oil pressure sensor. And in fact, the oil pressure sensor is the factory oil pressure sensor. So all you have to do, literally leave it in the same spot. Your factory oil pressure sensor, I know you guys can't really see that, but it is located down on the driver's side behind the ground strap that goes next to the water pump, or sort of to the side of the timing cover actually, but that little wire right there comes off and goes up over to that little fuse wiring block I told you about just a second ago. So all you really have to do is keep that factory wire that runs over to that little wiring block right there, goes back to the computer. Like I say, it reads off the computer to the gauge and it works just fine. I mean, it's really simple. Like, you keep the factory stuff that you want on the engine and it'll still work through the computer. Like, as long as you don't cut the wires, it'll work fine. And that is the only 2 harness wires off the factory harness that I use. Now on to the next part, which is to keep your voltmeter and the voltmeter working. Like I said, kept it stock. I left it exactly how it was. The only thing I had to do was power up the voltage regulator on the alternator. So what I did, guys, is I uncovered all this right here so you could see the wire that I used, but you can't really see it, but I'll tell you. The color wire I used and ran to was the green and white wire, I'm pretty sure. It's a green wire with a white stripe. And I run a power wire off the switch to that wire. That way the alternator would charge like it's supposed to. It doesn't overcharge, doesn't undercharge, it does exactly what it's supposed to. All that regulator needs is that power going to it. And I kept the stock harness from the alternator, just ran it normal, back over underneath all this stuff, over to here. And the plug-in is right there for the alternator. And then I ran, of course, the power wire off the alternator, the 12-volt source, to right there. And it will work fine, guys. I've had it this way for 3 or 4+ years now, even with this setup, the carb rated setup, and it's been working great. I hadn't had any issues with it. So that's your water temp gauge, your volt gauge, and your oil pressure gauge. Now the only other gauges you're gonna need, of course, is gonna be your fuel and your RPM. And the fuel one is really easy as well. Literally, guys, all you have to do is leave your factory fuel pump pickup harness in it and the fuel gauge will work fine. My fuel level sensor stuff is 100% stock. I haven't touched it. Even doing this swap, I never touched anything like that. The only thing I ever did for the fuel in the back was mess with the power going to the pump. So I took and ran my own little power wire off a fuse panel that I did myself. And of course, my buddy Taylor helped me out with it as well. Speaking of that, guys, if you hadn't checked out his channel, Blue Edge Mock on YouTube, got a really good channel going. He's just started it up, but he's doing a really great job. So definitely go check him out. But I'll show you this little fuse panel that I did back behind the seat here. It's actually underneath the back seat. Anyways, I took the little cover off right here, messing with some fuses earlier. But I took and put this fuse panel here. I got a 12-volt source here, so if I ever need to run 12 volts of power anywhere, I just got a little power strip here so I can have, you know, like I said, 12 volts of power. I have everything pretty much relayed off now. I got a relay for the fuel pump and a fuse. I also have a relay for the distributor and a fuse for the distributor and a fuse for the bottle, or a relay for the bottle heater and a fuse for the bottle heater as well, which I showed you earlier, which is back there in the back. But yeah, guys, made my own little fuse panel, and it took a lot of time to do that. Doing wiring for me, it takes a long time because I try to be as neat as possible, because I don't really like wires just running and hanging everywhere, because I can't stand that. I can't stand the mess of wires. They all have to be loomed and they all have to look uniform, and that stuff takes a long time. But before we get too far in this video, if you are enjoying the content on this channel, guys, be sure to drop a like, drop a comment down below. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithms and helps get your videos out there, get it, you know, spread around to more people. Also, if you want to share these videos, be sure to do that as well. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, if you could take and drop a like, drop a comment down below of what you think of the build so far and the nitrous stuff. For all you guys who've been here for a while, we're almost there, guys. We're gonna hopefully be trying to do some nitrous pulls in this thing this coming week. Now on to the RPM gauge. Alright, so most of the time with a carbureted setup like this, you are gonna have to take and either go with some sort of MSD ignition or just a regular HEI system like what I used to have. So to get the RPM gauge to work, all you have to do is take and find the tach signal wire that comes off either distributor or MSD box, whatever ignition system you got. If you got an HEI distributor like this, it'll be this tach signal wire right here, and it even says tach on the cap right there. So you'll run a wire from the tach side off the distributor cap, or either tach signal wire off your MSD, and you'll take and run that wire from there back to the gauge cluster. And I took my gauge cluster apart, and I actually found which wire was the tach signal wire on Google. I'm pretty sure it was the number 6 wire on the driver's side pigtail. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, there's 2 pigtails on the back of the gauge cluster. You'll want to take the one off the left side if you're facing the gauge cluster, take it off, and the tack signal wire will be on that left side. And if I ain't mistaken, it's the 6th wire from the far left of the plug-in over. If I can find a Google image of it, I will take and post it on the screen right here, guys. That way it'll help you out, and it'll make it a little bit easier for you so you can actually see which wire I'm talking about. So I really hope this video is helping you out as far as figuring out how to get your gauge cluster to work, and also showing you guys the progress on the Nitrous setup. Like I said, we're almost done with it. I did not want to show you guys videos of all that wiring. Literally, most of this was just wiring the Nitrous up, which took a long time. And I did not want to put y'all through just minutes and minutes of time lapses, because that's really all it would have been. But that's gonna do it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you are going with this setup, I hope it helps you out so that you can figure out how to get your gauges working. Like I say, it's really simple. Most of the stuff you just leave stock. Like I said, it's pretty much really simple, guys. So if this video did help you out, be sure to smash the like button down below. Also, be sure to drop a comment down below and help your boy out try to get through the YouTube algorithms. But as for me and Onyx here, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. We will see you later.
Step on the land.